Coach, I guess just the obvious question. I think Robbie had that stat last year. You guys didn't make 10 3-pointers in a single game, and you've opened up this year. Both games you've had 10 or more threes. Just obviously, how does that open things up on the court for you guys?
When we started getting back together this fall, right? We did media, things like this. I told y'all we were going to shoot the three better. You don't remember that? Right, but we were also last in the country, so I had a lot of wiggle room. But, I didn't know we'd shoot 39 of them, second game out of the shoot, but we did. And historically, my teams have always taken a bunch of threes. I don't have the numbers, and I'm not going to take the time to look at it, and I would advise you not to too. But I think last year was probably the team that shot the less amount of threes that I've ever had. And we've always believed in the three-point line and how it's changed the game historically. And I don't know if we'll shoot that many again going forward. I would, it was a night we could have made 18 or 19 if we knock them down, and we had some guys that are good shooters that didn't make them. I did think in the first half, especially, we had 2 or 3 that were at least iffy at best. But it's going to happen sometimes. It's going to happen sometimes, and it sure is nice to have more guys, wearing the maroon and white that can knock down an open shot.
Go ahead, Rob.
You knew that Hub was going to help you this year as a dynamic player coming out of high school, had a great career, but just what kind of player is he for this team, you think, as a true freshman? What can he add to this roster this year in his first season?
I didn't know exactly. I don't believe in that. I do this long enough. You have an idea, but you really don't know who you have until you're with them for months. That's why we get them in June and July, and that's 8 weeks, and then fall. And so you really get a feel of what they're about, who they are, what their approach is. And he's ahead of, most freshmen across the country. He's in the higher percentile of being prepared to transition to this level of basketball. He's been preparing for this moment, this part of his career, his whole life. I mean, he's got an incredible work ethic. He's been raised by a high level. He understands the relationship between work and success, and he's got a presence about him. He's got a presence about him that he doesn't walk around or make decisions like a freshman. He's all in, and he understands being a part of the team, and he's got a long way to go. He made some silly mistakes out there, freshman mistakes, but he doesn't make that many of them that often, and he's just real comfortable, man. He's real comfortable in his own skin. He's real comfortable on the basketball court, and he's obviously off to a great start in a very, very, very infant part of his career.
We'll stay front row with Brian.
From the 5 position tonight, you got 18 points and 18 rebounds out of Jimmy and Gal. Gal, especially, a guy that we thought was going to be kind of a raw prospect, but he's playing at a pretty high level. It's only 2 games in, but for a true freshman, what did you think of his performance tonight?
I love him. He was, he didn't know this, but when we signed him, our plan was to redshirt him. Our plan was to redshirt him all the way up until we had the injuries. And at that point, his daily tutorials increased in their level of intensity from myself and the rest of the coaches, and we just said, hey man, you're going to get thrown in the deep end. It wasn't the plan, but that's what's going to happen, and we don't really have much of a choice. And he's been awesome. He's gotten better. I mean, I'm telling you, almost every day he gets better. Every week for sure he makes strides, and what I love the most about him is his approach. For a young freshman built like that, playing against grown men, like a lot of the guys we have that play his position are older and experienced, he has zero fear. He battles every single day. He's a sponge in terms of picking things up and listening and learning, and he plays really, really hard. Now, obviously, he's got some strength issues and some balance issues, experience issues, but for what we need right now, I'm sure glad we had him, and he possesses, which he's shown to everybody, a really nice touch with the free throws and around the basket.
Kind of speaking to that, I mean, it wasn't very deep in the ball game. You had 5 guys off the bench playing together, and you see a little bit of depth. But what are you learning from this team early without 3 key contributors and playing a lot of new faces and not a lot of guys like that?
Yeah, we thought, heading into the season that depth was going to be a positive for us this year with the added recruits, the guys that came back, and you know, fortunately it is. You know, we're having to test it right away with the obvious of guys being out, etc. But you know, I always tell them, hey, listen, if you can go in the game, and more often than not, you're going to move the needle in a positive direction, we're going to find minutes for you. I love playing a bunch of guys. My best teams I've ever had are where we have multiple guys that you can throw in and not rely on just one guy to, you know, show up and score a bunch of points for the team. And I think it builds great camaraderie amongst the team. The chemistry's a little bit better, and it keeps them motivated in practice because they know they got guys on their left and their right that are capable, and if they don't bring it every day, you know, their minutes could slip. So we love having the depth that we assembled, and it's really helped us already.
Kind of about two guys. One, I guess, will Shaquille return next week, and two, obviously we saw Jaquan get hurt or when he dove on the floor there. And I know it's pretty quick, but any update on him?
Yeah, I don't have any updates on either one of them at the current moment.
Go back to Danny P in the second row.
There's only 9 turnovers today, so what does that say about your ball club, especially with playing the freshmen that you're playing?
Yeah, it's been a focus for us the last few weeks heading into the game portion of our schedules because in practice, you know, we were having too high of a number, and we've had 4 halves now, and 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken, I think we've been under 5 for 3 out of the 4 halves. And we had the 12 turnover half in the second half against Arizona State, and 5 of them were against their press, which we just acted like we had never seen a press before, and we do it almost every day in practice, which was disappointing. But if we can keep that number low, you know, and continue to get better at offense, and you know, rebounding is certainly an issue for this particular game. It wasn't against Arizona State as much, but I love when we take care of the ball, and like we just tell them, hey, it's simple, man. We need to get a shot on goal every time. You know, turnovers are the hardest thing to defend. You know, getting more shots than the other team, if you can take care of the ball, usually helps you try to win the game.